I guess. All right, we're gonna go ahead and stand up and face the east, folks.
Shemaya Sharala, Ahaya, Alahaya Nawa, Ahaya, Achad. Shemaya Sharala, Ahaya, Alahaya Nawa, Ahaya, Achad. Shemaya Sharala, Ahaya, Alahaya Nawa, Ahaya, Achad. Hero of Israel, Ahaya our power, Ahaya is one. Give praise to the Most High.
All right. Let's go ahead and turn to Exodus, the 20th chapter. Exodus, the 20th chapter. All right. Exodus 21. And the highest spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High, thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am Most High, Ahia, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Ahia thy power in vain. For the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the high of thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, and nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days I have made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not the Most High speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for I have come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near to the thick darkness where Ahia was. And Moses said unto Moses, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make with you gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto you gods of gold. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. All right, we're going to have our readers come forward.
Brother Gocc, son of Judah, son of Israel. 2 Samuel chapter 1. Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amaleks, and David had abode 2 days in Ziklag. It came even to pass on the 3rd day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent and earth upon his head. And so it was, when he came to David, that he fell on the earth and did obeisance. And chapter 3, verse 3, And David said unto him, From whence comest thou? And he said unto him, Out of the camp of Israel, and I escaped. And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. And he answered, that the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people also are fallen and dead. And Saul and Jonathan, his son, are dead also. Verse 5. And David said unto the young man that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan his son be dead?
Second Samuel, chapter 1, verse 6. And the young man that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me, and called unto me, and I answered, Here I am. Verse 8. And he said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. Verse 9. And he said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me, for anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. Verse 10. So I stood upon him and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live after that he was fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head, and the bracelet that was upon his arm, and have brought them hither unto my Lord.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Brother Azar, tribe of Judah, house of Yasharallah. This is 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 11 through 15. Then David took hold on his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him. And they mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, How wast thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died.
Shabbat Shalom. My brother Kayah, house of Israel, tribe of Judah. This is verse 16. And David said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth has testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed. And David lamented with this lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also he bade them to teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher, The beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath, publish it not in the streets of Askelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph.
Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, family. I'm Brother Abadia, verse 21. Ye mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, neither let there be rain upon you, nor fields of offerings. For there the shield of the mighty is vilely cast away, the shield of Saul, as though he had not been anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles. They were stronger than lions. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet and other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thy high places.
Shabbat Shalom, family, Kazakh Akia, tribe of Judah, house of Israel. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished? 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up into the cities of Judah? And the Lord said unto him, Go up. And David said, Whither shall I go up? And he said, Unto Hebron. So David went up thither, and his two wives also, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail Nabal's wife, the Carmelite. And his men that were with him did David bring up, every man with his household, and they dwelt in the cities of Hebron.
Atazawam Makad. Well, first of all, Shabbat Shalom, family. Atazawam Makad, son of Judah, house of Israel. I'm picking up at verse 4. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying that the men of Labesh Gilead were they that buried Saul. Verse 5, and David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, and said unto them, Blessed be ye of the Most High, that ye have shewed his kindness unto your Lord, even unto Saul, and have buried him. Verse 6, and now the Most High sheweth kindness and truth unto him, and I also will requite you this kindness, because ye have done this thing. Verse 7, therefore now let your hands be strengthened, and to be vigilant. I'm reading from the King. I'm reading from the 1611 family, so bear with me on these new J's and I's and stuff, okay? Yeah. Okay, where did I leave off at? Apologize. Verse what? 7. Well, I'll start over at 7. Therefore now let your hands be strengthened, and be ye valiant. For your master Saul is dead, and also the house of Judah have anointed the king over them. Verse 8, but Abner, the son of Ner, captain of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim.
All right, we're going to go ahead and set up for the choir there. Thank you.
and I'm worth fighting for. So heavy with the weight of my mistake, you carried me and refused to let me sink under the pressure. You meant for me to soar. I am your child, and I'm worth fighting for. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard all you have planned for me, and nothing can separate me from your love when there's so much more still worth fighting for. Now I'm moving by faith and not by sight towards victory. By the power of your might, you're straightening out my path and opening every door. I am your child, and I'm worth fighting for. Eyes haven't seen, no. Oh, oh. And nothing, no nothing can separate me from your love when there's so much more. Yes, Lord. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard all you have planned for me, and nothing can separate me when there's so much more still worth fighting for. That's why I'm pressing towards the mark, 'cause the calling on my life is worth fighting for, and I'll keep my mind stay on you, Yeshua, 'cause the peace it brings is worth fighting for, and I'll be faithful to my family, because my family is worth fighting for. No, this world is not my home, but your kingdom here is worth fighting for. I got a mansion over in glory, and my new home is worth fighting for. Until I see it, I'll shout, praise a higher hill, 'cause my praise is worth fighting for. Praise a higher, praise a higher, praise a higher. Life with you is worth fighting for. Praise a higher, praise a higher, praise a higher. Life with you is worth fighting. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard. There is so much more still worth fighting. Eyes haven't seen, ears haven't heard. There is so much more still worth fighting.
folks. So we're going to get into this lesson here. And the lesson is called Faith Kills. Faith Kills, stepping away from the medical religion now. Okay? And the lesson itself was written on the back of, for example, losing another relative to, unfortunately, the whole cancer scenario, the whole chemo thing that people have made their religion. All right? And, you know how these times are when you lose loved ones, and unfortunately, when you're in the truth, you try to bring them a little truth about these things, but it usually doesn't work because of the fact that the doctors have become more so the authority than the Most High. So, I'm going to read the commentary here, but first we're going to go to 1 Timothy 6 and 20 through 21. Because I want people today to look beyond what people are doing in the world and look at themselves. Because as I've traveled many places, I've talked to many people, dealt with people with many sicknesses. And the one thing I've examined is that our mindsets in the truth still runs eerily similar to those in the world when it comes to our own health, especially. Okay? And until we break those bonds, we will not see what we hope to get out of this. I'm just telling you right now. We must free ourselves from the beast construct, because that's really what it is. We have to free ourselves from the way the beast has taught us to think. Until you get outside of that paradigm and think differently, you'll always get the same results you've gotten. All right? So let me read this commentary here. Faith in the Most High will help us to endure forever. Faith in the medical doctors, however, seems to bring something quite different. Too many of our people are dying right now, and instead of cleaving to the Most High, we cleave to pills. We must wake up. The Father in His way is the key to our problems. By doing things our own way, we have for years inflamed our problems until we now lack faith in Him and look for a miracle pill from someone who has no control over life or death. Our faith in the medical world has become a religion in itself, where we are afraid to step out on faith at times simply because of the fear instilled in us by the medical religion. It's time to speak about these issues and to free our minds from the chains that have been placed upon them through a media and family tradition-based religion known as healthcare. A lot of us don't even realize by the time you could walk, you already knew, when in doubt, always go to the doctor. Not calling the Most High. You were taught to run to the doctor. And guess what? When something happens as a child, it tells you train up a child in the way they shall go and they shall not depart from it in later in life, right? It tells you that, right? So if you're doing that, you're actually setting things up for how you'll be later on. You still think the same way. When the elders, for example, and we're going to go into the scripture, may say something and say, oh, look, man, have you examined this? For example, you're fasting. What are you eating on a regular basis? People are like, what? They're waiting for some special concoction or something to cure their problems when that's not what the Most High said would work. And it gets in our way of that breakthrough. So I really want people, I know we sometimes coming from work, we get a little heavy-eyed and all that. I've seen it. I can see everybody's face, by the way. I know. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention today, because if you want the keys to this thing, it's not going to come by just passively going about life. You have to start being active in your walk in this faith. You can't say praise the Most High, but every time you turn around, you're really praising the beast system and giving them their props. You have to wake up. So let's read that real quick. 1 Timothy 6 and 20 through 21.
This is the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 6, verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings, and oppositions of science falsely so called, which some professing have erred concerning the faith. Grace be with thee. Amen.
All right. It says, in oppositions of science falsely so called. Look, they're telling you flat out, I'm practicing. And nobody's actually keying up on that. Wait a minute, you're practicing? Didn't you say you went to school for years? What does that mean? Take a little bit of this here, take a little bit of that, maybe it'll work. That's what they're doing to you. Yet you still say, okay. It says, which some professing have erred concerning the faith. A lot of times we'll give the doctor props. Yeah, that pill sure did work. Thanks, doctor. Sure did work. Again, they cannot control both either life or death. They could bind you up till they bind you. Sitting there in a car accident or something, they could bind you up well and all that. That's great and all. But unless the Most High says so, you die. If he says live, you live. Keep that in your minds. You're going to come across that sometimes in life where you literally go to the doctor and they really don't know. And now you're at a loss because you weren't invested in the Most High right. The only one who does. All right? Let's continue. This is an article here we're going to read. Because I need y'all to, like I said, this was on the back of losing, unfortunately, another relative who was a great person. Let me tell you, and I know that they had at least a good 20 left in them. 20 years. Okay? Someone I knew since I was a baby, who was there for the family since I could remember. Okay? And I just thought to myself, they done killed my aunt. They done killed her. And we're going to read, did they kill her or not? Let's find out. This is the truthaboutcancer.com, and this is stuff, we're going to go through articles, we're going to even hit NBC today. So let's see if even the mainstream is telling you. But this is truthaboutcancer.com. It says, treating cancer is big business. In fact, each year in the USA alone, allopathic conventional treatments generate over $200 billion. Big pharma, physicians, and others involved in the cancer industry profit heavily each time a cancer patient submits to the conventional Big Three treatment method. Listen to this closely. And I'm going to throw something in here also. But let's listen to this. It says, cutting out essential body parts via surgical intervention, poisoning, number 2, with chemotherapy, or burning the body with ionizing radiation, or perhaps a barbaric combination of the three, hence the slang cut, poison, burn. In this article, we're going to focus solely on chemotherapy. Now, the old way they used to do it before, they would just chop something off. They said, okay, well, you don't need that chest no more. Let me go ahead and cut this off. That's going to be the solution. That's how we're going to stop it. And most times it didn't work. You still had problems after that. Right? So this is the deal. You go to them saying, oh, what do I do? Now, mind you, the whole time, the Bible was at everyone's disposal. It's been the top selling book since I could remember. This was hundreds of years now since it was created. It's been around. It told you the whole time what to do. We read in the Jubilees that these demons are upon the earth as malignant spirits, okay, to the time of judgment. They're here causing illness, causing problems, causing addictions, which bring forth your illnesses. And yet still, we'd rather go get a pill. The Bible's telling you the way. It's telling you the way to actually break the bonds of wickedness which are on you. Yet we refuse. We'd rather do what everybody else is saying is the solution. All right? Now let's read this a little bit more. It says, a lethal accident spawns medical breakthrough. Chemotherapy was discovered, listen to this, during World War II when a ship carrying sulfur mustards, a nerve agent, so it's a weapon, to be used in chemical warfare was bombed and the troops on board were exposed to the chemical. Those men affected tested for depleted bone marrow and lymph systems, cells that naturally divide faster than other cells. Scientists at the time wondered if mustard gas could be used in the treatment of cancer cells that also divide faster than normal cells in the human body. So they took a weapon that was used to actually kill people during World War II and made it something for you to use. Oh, don't worry, it'll help with that cancer. I hope we need to pay attention here. Okay? Take notes. It says the first versions of chemotherapy drugs were called nitrogen mustards. In 1942, Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, so this is a Jewish situation, secretly began treating breast cancer with these nitrogen mustards. No one was cured. Chemotherapy trials were also conducted at Yale University around 1943, where 160 patients were treated. Again, no one was cured. But since chemotherapy shrank the tumors, researchers were so excited that they proclaimed the chemotherapy trials to be a success. Chemo destroys healthy cells along with cancer cells. Now, I've been telling people this for a while now. I want y'all to listen again, okay? It's funny they're saying in this article, even with your antibiotics, the stronger it is, the worse it is in the body. I told you before, it's like trying to kill a roach with a nuclear bomb. Yeah, you'll get the roach, but you're going to get everything else too in the process. Everything else is going to be affected. Get it through your minds. You cannot do this the easy way. The instant is getting us killed. We have no patience. We look for the instant answer every time. And it's killing us. It's shortening our lives. One second. It's telling you the truth shall make you free, right? Why are we so scared of the truth? Because we'd rather be slaves. Okay? Now, let's continue here. It says, gradually, synthetic versions of the nitrogen mustards were developed, but they all had one common trait. They are unable to differentiate between healthy cells and cancerous cells, and they kill everything. Now, this is many resources here. This is deroxibicin. I don't even know how to, dehoxibin, I don't know how to pronounce that one. Important warning. Bladder carcinoma associated with cyclophosphamide, whatever, that's crazy. Therapy for ovarian cancer occurring with a latency of 20 years. And it's funny, that's the one I wanted to touch on. Another thing they do, especially, is they go after our women. You notice that? They make it an emotional thing. Even when you go to have babies in this society, they try to get the woman away from the husband to try to convince them to get more shots. They do that all the time. They tell you, oh, man, you got this going on in your body and that. And you go, oh, my goodness, I really do? And instead of them recommending certain diets and things you need to be on to get rid of this and fasting and stuff like that, they say, don't worry, I got the pill. I got a cure right here. And shorten your life with their confusion. But again, they can only do it if you allow it. You got to start to see beyond this. You're causing your own problems long term. Okay? Let's see here. Proverbs 3, 1 through 8. Because I want y'all to pay attention to something. Notice what it said too in this article. It said, those men affected tested for depleted bone marrow and lymph systems. Right? Let's see the scriptures on this bone marrow thing. Let's see if the Most High does the opposite. Read that, please.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 1. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the table of thy heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of the Most High and men. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Most High, and depart from evil. Verse 8. It shall be health to thy navel, and marrow to thy bones.
All right. So if we would actually do what we're supposed to do, we wouldn't have to worry about this confusion. And yeah, a lot of us been had in our confusion. We trusted them and said, okay, yeah, all right, well, I'll do anything. But now we must pull back. Now we must realize that we were had and say, okay, well, what can I do now? And don't lean on your own understanding. You better listen. A lot of people, yeah, I hear what those elders said, but not realizing you're going against yourself. We ain't telling this for our health. Tell it for your health. Okay? Somebody has to realize, like, here's the thing. We're looking for these great signs and wonders. Look, you have to understand, just because you didn't see something in your life doesn't mean I haven't. You understand? Doesn't mean Elder Ricard or somebody may have it. We may be telling you based off of what we've seen. So what you have to do is to start working on things. And again, don't expect instant everything. It doesn't work like that. We got too many spirits for these things all the time. Some things are a process. Some things have to be worked out. Okay? You didn't build up your sicknesses and your diseases overnight. They took a time. And sometimes it took a lot of rebellion that you was dealing with at that time. But now you're trying to do the right thing. Don't lose that. Do the right thing all the way through. All right? Here's another article here. Now, this is mainstream. This is NBC, right? NBCnews.com. Cancer does profit chemotherapy drugs. But here's the title. Cancer docs, as in doctors, profit from chemotherapy drugs. Now, I didn't write this, but it's here. It says, it is a unique situation in medicine. Unlike other kinds of doctors, cancer doctors are allowed to profit from the sale of chemotherapy drugs. The significant amount of our revenue, this is a quote, from the profit, if you will, that we make from selling the drugs, says Dr. Peter Eisenberg, a private physician who specializes in cancer treatment. Yeah, y'all know. Doctors and other specialties simply write prescriptions, but oncologists make most of their income by buying drugs wholesale and selling them to patients at a marked up price. So the pressure is frankly on to make money by selling medications, says Eisenberg. Ethicists see a potential for conflict of interest. They might have a preference to give you the one that they're going to make the most money from, says Arthur Kaplan with the University of Pennsylvania Center of Bioethics. Kaplan also writes MSNBC.com's Breaking Bioethics column. So what are they telling you? This is a hustle. They don't care if you die. Me telling you to back away from that stuff, I have nothing to gain by telling you that, brothers and sisters. Y'all better start listening. Same thing with the rest of the elders and the deacons and bishops and sisters and brothers that be telling you these things. You better listen. They're making money off of you. That's all it's about. You ever notice every time you walk into the doctor's office, it's like an ad sitting somewhere for this medication? They're all around you, just passively selling something to you. You don't even realize it. They get kickbacks for these different things. Pens and all this cool little stuff they can have in the office, all of it got a medication on it. Like, can I get a normal pen up in here? Every one of the pens up here seems to have a name of a medication you got to take. You ain't even got that problem, but because it's on the pen, you might eventually buy that thing. Hey, let me get that. My insurance will cover it. Right? I have been sitting down a lot lately. You'd be surprised the craziness I've heard over the years where people think that's a real problem. Like, man, make it up. Just whatever. Just go to Jeremiah 17 and 5 through 7. And I'm saying this also, just wake up. Look, there's one thing that's not having a problem making money right now is the funeral homes. There ain't too many signs on the funeral home saying we about to go out of business. They passing it down from one relative to the next. It's right here. We're just going to keep doing this. Especially in our community, they could just set up anywhere and we'll be right there weeping and wailing every week because someone else is dead. Not changing one thing. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of it. That's the mode I'm in with it. I'm not sad anymore. I'm just tired. I'm angry about it. It tell you, surely oppressions make of a wise man mad. The only problem is we're oppressing ourselves now. We don't have to go to them. If anybody as a people knew to go to the Most High for things, it was us. But we've given up faith. You got brothers bugging out talking about Buddha these days. I said, what? Does that even exist? We was doing the last street preaching, the brother brought it up, and I was like, man, what? You a Rastafarian Buddhist going on here? What's this? But this is, we laughing, but check it out. There's, even in the Israelite movement, you got Israelites that believe in just a mixed bag of confusion. They haven't figured out what they know yet. So if we're divided mentally, what do we expect to happen? The doctor capitalizes off all of our mixed and confused decisions. Okay? And really, Satan wins at that point. Because he's the one who tells these witches to make these different things we're taking. I'm just telling you the truth. Read that, please.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 5. Thus saith the Most High, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Most High. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt and land and not inhabited. Verse 7, blessed is the man that trusteth in the Most High, and whose hope the Most High is.
Right. And that's the process you have to go through. Doing the right things, staying away from the confusion. And I'll say this too. If you're on medication, start figuring a way to taper yourself off of that. I know every medication you can't just drop straight off of. Because that shows you how deep the demons with that thing is too. Like if I stop taking some herbs or something like that, I ain't gonna just pass out and die tomorrow. There's demons attached to that thing. They'll tell you right in the warning, you come out this thing too fast, you're gonna die. Like, man, what? What am I taking here? It doesn't even occur to us that may be telling you that this thing is bad for you. I mean, the side effects on some of this stuff is definite. I can't believe we take it. You know, but it is what it is. Again, we got caught up. It's time to wake up, though. Mark 5:24 through 29. They put it straight out there, but they know we ain't reading nothing unless it's confusion. They putting it straight out there on purpose, like, look, yeah, for real, these doctors are making money off of you. I'm talking about even your little friendly old neighborhood doctor, they making money off of you. So unless you got a snapped up leg or something like that and they got to place it, don't just keep going them for everything. Get some prayer, get some anointing, fast for a change. I'm just trying to give you the keys here. The scriptures are clear. I didn't make it up. I didn't write it. We tend to forget that the people of the past lived a lot longer than us, too. Why do you think that was? Because a lot of things weren't predicated off of doctors, number one. And they ate better. Simple stuff. I have a relative that literally has, in their 90s, never touched one vaccine. But this, according to this society, you're supposed to die if you ain't dealing with your vaccines. Not touch one. All right? Let's read that.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 5, verse 24. And Yeshua went with him, and much people followed him and thronged him. And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, and had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing bettered, but rather grew worse. When she had heard of Yeshua, came in the press behind and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. Verse 29. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague.
All right, so she got over the whole lack of faith thing, and she put it into motion. But see, that's the thing. We've come from a different background. We have learned that you must have faith in the beast system. So it makes it a little rougher. I totally understand. But either you're going to do it or you're going to fall victim to the same system that you truly believe in. Because you have to realize it comes with a certain type of mindset. You just want instant gratification. I don't care what the side effects is, just give it to me. You think that ain't would be the mindset what people going to be when that chip come? I don't need to know about all that. All I know is my babies need to eat. I'm hungry right now. It's not going to matter because you're already programmed that way. You're already thinking like that. Literally, side effects are death, seizures, this. I would go down the line and say, man, this person only got a problem with it, getting a little tingle in their finger or something. And here it is, when you look at the side effects, you're talking about death. They just having problems sleeping or something. Could cause death. Well, you're going to be sleeping a long time when you take that pill. So we got to wake up, man. They don't care one bit about you. And something you've experienced that even when you go to your family. You actually have a background with them. You actually known them for years, been through the ups and downs with them, and you tell them something, it's like they don't want to hear what you're saying. But the doctor somehow cares for them. So this is not a foreign concept. If you believe these things now, you'll believe them when the chip comes. You'll delude yourself. You have to go through the process. Fasting, getting certain demons out of you that may be there from the medication, because a lot of this stuff sits in your tissues the longer you take it. And really going through that. It's a process. You have to go through it, though. Again, the commandments are important, too. This sister lived in the land, so I'm sure she was quite familiar with commandments that we're reading here. Us, on the other hand, we're still wrestling with them day to day. Bible tell you, don't look at a woman to lust after and all that. Don't commit adultery. But here it is, we're watching TV programs every day of the week where they dealing with lust, adultery, all of that. And somehow think we're free. You're still a slave. You're still caught up. You got to get away from. That's what fasting's for, too. To get away for a second from the foolishness of the world. That's why the prophets would always go out somewhere else where they ain't got to deal with nobody's business. Because as soon as you run to that one person, here come the demons. Right? We got to learn the game, how it really works to get these spirits off you. Hosea 4:1-7. Hosea 4:1-7. And again, there's nothing, I don't need to actually run a mile. I don't need to lift a single weight to fast. So it's well within the possibilities of most people, if not all. Of course, it takes a process for each person has different levels of health concerns. We're not talking about that. We're just making the point that you have to go through these processes if you want to free yourself in some way or fashion. Stop kidding yourselves. There's no quick fix pill. Okay? All those pills have their repercussions, things that you're going to pay for down the line. You may not even equate with what you took. All right, well, that antibiotic sure worked. But now all of a sudden down the line, you're having a problem with your arms and circulation that you don't even know what happened. You don't know where it came from. So that's what you have to think about too. It's a big decision. Hey, everybody's got to make them. But start thinking a little harder. That's all we're saying before you do it. All right, read that, please.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 1. Hear the word of the Most High, ye children of Israel. For the Most High hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of the Most High in the land. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood toucheth blood. Therefore shall the land mourn, and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven. Yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priests. Verse 5, therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night, and I will destroy thy mother. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. Verse 7, as they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory unto shame.
All right. As they increased, so they sinned against it. It tell you in the scriptures, when we got rich and we started having summer homes and winter homes and all that good stuff, we forgot about the Most High. Now we do it easier. All it takes is a little perk from the government. You done forgot about him. It tell you when you read Josephus during the times of what's his name, Nimrod. One of the things he came up with governmentally is that he would start supporting the people financially, so that they would learn to not depend on the Most High no more. Sound familiar? So you've been conditioned, folks. You've been conditioned. You've been had. They did that on purpose so that you no longer have the faith required to get your delivery from these things. All right? Now I want to touch on this too. It says, look, by swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out in blood, touch of blood. You're not even safe in your own homes amongst your own relatives. Murder after murder, thievery after thievery. It's just craziness going on in our neighborhoods, and we expect great things to happen for us. Even in the congregation, we still are wrestling. We still don't want to stop our foolishness, and we expect good things to happen for us. You're playing yourself. He said, look, yet let no man strive, nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priests. You have no idea the amount of calls we get where we got to argue with somebody for them, to help them. Therefore, check this out. This is the worst part about it, when you had to argue with people for them, like Moses, where he didn't even get to see the land because he got frustrated over our people. End up doing what he wasn't supposed to do. It says, yet let no man strive, nor reprove another, for thy people as they that strive with the priest. Therefore thou shalt fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee. Somebody hit the light there. Did he hit it, or it just went out? Okay, fix the box there, please. It might just come right back on. All right. So the bottom line is, therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with him. So even the person that was warning you now got to go through the same curses you going through. It's a crying shame, man. It's a crying shame. We got to do better, man. Romans 10, 1 through 3. And we got another article left too, though. We ain't done. This is a full, robust lesson. All right? Because sooner or later, you're going to have to step out on faith and stop doing this mess in the shadows. I can't keep having councils, the deacon, the bishops and stuff, and then we find out later, okay, well, yeah, I'm going through this now because I kept going to that doctor for this mess. How can we help you? Imagine this, right? And I'm not saying I ain't into everybody's medication, but what I am saying, for the most part, when you read what's going on here, I have not seen one yet that didn't have something in it that's destroying your body. Okay? Not one. And they'll even tell you, oh yeah, it's good. This one good for you. You're fine. And I'm not talking, for those that don't understand, I'm not talking about going to herbalists and stuff like that for things that the Most High has to heal the body. I'm talking about the regular old MD situation that people get caught up in. That's destroying us. Okay? Let's see here. Read that, Romans 10.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to the Most High for Israel is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High, but not according to knowledge. For they, being ignorant of the Most High's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of the Most High.
All right, so submission is key. Humility is key. You don't know it all. You got to get in this book. One thing about Israel, everyone wants to profess they got all the answers, but yet you notice they're not following the book. Again, I've said it before. You feel like you can't even teach a lesson with someone trying to profess or be. I mean, Elder Carr, many years he's been in, you always have somebody coming on the radio show trying to shine instead of just listening and learning. It's a shame. For they, being ignorant of the Most High's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of the Most High. You see, the thing with a stiff-necked people, it's hard to bow down when you have one. It's hard to bow down to unless, when you got one. That's why the Most High got to sit here and literally have people whipping our backs for years until we drop to our knees here. All right? Deuteronomy 28 and 58 through 61. And I'm going to read this commentary while they're getting this. It says, the one thing about a stiff-necked people is that we have always wanted to do things our own way carnally, and yet we praise the Most High as if we are linked with him spiritually. We have no idea that the Father is angry with us and have treated what has happened to us as if it's just normal, and all people go through things. This life is not normal. I want to say that again. This is not a normal life. It's a curse. Believe it and understand it. You're under a curse. This is not the way it's supposed to be, especially for people who were never supposed to be slaves. So stop being comfortable in slavery. Free your minds. Let it go. You notice the people that would always pop up and say, free your minds at some point in life, they would get rid of them. They didn't want the slaves getting that concept. The people that were really supposed to be free. So they will always get rid of that. Nowadays, you got YouTube and all this stuff, so plenty of people can say it now. But they'll tend to try to buy these people off, especially if they get popular enough. Right? Let's read that. Read that, please.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 58. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name of a higher thy power, then the Most High will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sicknesses of the long continuance. Verse 60, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Most High bring upon thee until thou be destroyed.
All right. So the more we fight against what the Most High has to say in his word, the worse off we will be. It's always been that way. And that's what we have to focus on. Like, I examine how when it comes to finances, for example, we have a problem rubbing two pennies together for things that are, for example, let's say keep our health better, naturally. But somehow we always get the 80-inch screen. Somehow we got the Jordans. I'm still trying to figure out how that works. Somehow we find a way to get the things that are actually harming us, making us more carnal. But we never seem to have the money for just a few lettuce or something to help. I mean, I don't get it. I didn't know lettuce was that expensive. We're playing ourselves. We're allowing demons to manipulate our mindsets and ultimately bringing upon us more and more plagues. Okay, let's go into another article here. Now this hits directly close to home here. This is from cancer.gov. This is national information. This is not something that we just came up with on our own. Let's see who it's really affecting here. this whole cancer thing, or even any of these diseases, because I got news for you. This is another thing I forgot to tell y'all. I remember it was a sister, and she overcame her issue by taking the advice. She had hypothyroidism, right? And she found out that the pills she was taking for that exact issue she was having had pork in them. So you sitting there, oh yeah, I'm trusting these doctors got me, I'm good. Down in these pills, breaking the Most High's commandments, not even knowing it. Well, needless to say, we got off that healthy diet. You know, she was juicing, doing her thing, fasting from time to time, prayer, and she overcame that thing. That's for years, she had been taking pork pills for. It's that simple. If you're going to trust in him or you're not, the way he say do things. Get counsel, like he said, with his ministers and find out what to do, or you'll keep, look, we just showing you the way. That's all I can say on that. Let's read this. Let's see. Cancer.gov. It says, although cancer incidence and mortality overall are declining in all racial/ethnic groups in the United States. Now, we know this is a lie, but let's see what they say. Certain groups continue to be at increased risk of developing or dying from particular cancers. Some key cancer incidents and mortality disparities among U.S. racial ethnic groups include African Americans have higher death rates than all other groups for many, although not all, cancer types. Okay? African American women are much more likely than white women to die of breast cancer. The mortality gap is widening, and I'm going to tell you why. Because they're going to go to the health store. They're eating better foods. That's why. We're just saying, okay, doctor, what you got for me? That's what we're doing when it comes down to it. You didn't scan your chest about who knows how many times, like you're going through security at the airport or something. Here is the doctor, a lot of times go in the other room. It didn't click in yet. Why are you still doing that? If he's going in the other room, don't worry, here, wear this vest here real quick. For this or that, when you do these different scans, I mean, there's different ones. I'm just saying here. You don't notice that they tend to give you a little space when they do that? Maybe you shouldn't be doing it so much. We were talking about the pregnancy situation where the sisters literally, and I didn't even mention this part, it was a blog or something, where here it is, one sister was warning people that if you're sitting there doing these, what are they called, ultrasounds and all that, they cause miscarriages. And we never put two and two together with that. Do you know someone had the nerve to say in that actual chat to her, well, you're just mad because you lost someone? Oh, yeah. Let me tell you, women are brutal. I'm going to tell you that. I ain't never even heard a dude say something like that. This is what's going on, though. That's harsh to tell a woman that, right? The programming is deep. Somebody came on there for your sake, telling you so that you don't make the same mistakes. And you still like, oh, no, I got to see. No, let me keep checking. Oh, it's a boy. Okay, well, let me see if the boy got a toe yet. Okay, let me go back again and see. And you done scanned this child so many times, it's about to glow when it come out. And you didn't even know that even with ultrasounds before, they were only for serious problems that a person may have. When you go into other countries, a lot of times they will tell you that, look, no, you really shouldn't do that right now. They'll only go for there's certain things that are still done the way they're supposed to be done in the other countries, medically wise, that we're not doing. You can just go any time of the week. You know, I want to know if the baby turned sideways today. I want to see, yeah, might look cute. Let me see you doing anything cute today. Let me go ahead and zap them again. And then don't wonder you in sorrow when you lose that baby. Not realizing your own desire, and I'm going to hit you with it, your own desire to play the Most High is what got you in that situation. You're playing with these tools that really were his job before. Even just look, this is just what I'm telling you. You ain't got to say GOCC, I'm just telling you straight out, for me. Knowing whether it's a girl or a boy was the Most High's job. When you do that, okay, you done did that now. Why do you keep going back to them all the time, keep doing that? Don't you know there's actually power and energies being put through this baby now? So I'm just trying to tell you to wake up. And we ain't gone into the next one yet, but I'm just trying to get you to see something differently. Come free of the mental captivity that you're under. You've been programmed to do things a certain way. From TV, a lot of times. A lot of times. Okay? Let's see here. It says African Americans are more than twice as likely as whites to die of prostate cancer and nearly twice as likely to die of stomach cancer. Again, this comes down to the diet. When you seem to not have finances, you're dealing with certain situations, you buy the cheaper foods. You go to the places where you know even the name of the supermarket is telling you, don't be up in here. All right? Every ghetto has one. Every ghetto has one. I don't care what state I've been in, there's always the supermarket you know just by the title on the sign, this is not the place you want to be to buy your food. But you go there anyway. So that's why you see these things happening amongst us. It's cursed. All right? Now here's another one. Colorectal cancer incidence is higher in African Americans than in whites. Incidence in all groups is declining, but the difference between the groups remains. I'm trying to figure out when it's declining. And every time I turn around, somebody's dying. I don't know what they're talking about, but they're trying to make it sound good here. Hispanic and American Indian, Alaska Native women have higher rates of cervical cancer than women of other racial ethnic groups. African American women have the highest rates of death from the disease. American Indians, Alaska Natives, have the highest rates of liver and intrahepatic bile duct cancer. And we know a lot of alcoholism and things like that. They've pushed amongst our people is doing a lot of that too. Followed by Asian Pacific Islanders and Hispanics. One of those groups that they claim is not the children of Israel is mentioned here real quick. Let's see. Let's continue on. American Indians, Alaska Natives have higher death rates from kidney cancer than people of other racial ethnic groups. And guess what? We drink, and I was joking about this back there, but it's the truth. We drink the worst kind of drinks too. You think your kidneys ain't gonna be going crazy? We literally drinking stuff called fruit punch and orange drink. Not orange juice, orange drink. Nobody's even asked themselves, what is this I'm drinking? That's why your kidneys are shutting down. All this mess you're putting through them to filter. All kinds of dyes and everything into this stuff, just to give it its color. You're hurting yourselves. And here it is. This is what the doctors should be telling you, right? Why don't they go into that? They were so vague, they may say, okay, we got to get a little healthier diet. You got to lose some weight. But they're not telling you all these little key things here. And we're going to read some more later here. Because like I said, this is robust here. It says both the incidence of lung cancer and death rates from the disease are higher in African American men than in men of other racial ethnic groups. And we know what we're doing with that. Let me get that banana Dutch. Let me do this. Let me do that. Smoking our sorrows away and getting those kind of cancers. It's all relative to our actions. It's curse. But until we see it and walk away from the curse and start doing the right things, we'll continue to be the ones making the numbers high. Okay? Even with cigarettes, we choose the ones that are actually more damaging to the body. Because what do? They put special flavors to those, knowing that we are people of flavor. I'm being serious. There wasn't a joke involved. They literally do it based off of that. Okay? Let's see. Other notable examples of disparities include the incident rates of colorectal, lung, and cervical cancers are much more higher in the Appalachian region of Ohio than in wealthier and more populated areas of the state. I don't know who's in those areas, but if it's say one's wealthy and one ain't, I'm guessing Jake is there too. And it says African American women are nearly twice as likely as white women to be diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, which is more aggressive and harder to treat than other subtypes of breast cancer. Now we know, again, they had us convinced we always got to get our chest checked out. All right? Zapping us with the same thing that's causing the problem. African Americans are more than twice as likely as whites to be diagnosed with and die from multiple myeloma. Blacks in the United States and Africa also have a higher incidence than whites of a disorder called monoclonal gammopathy of undermined significance, which can be a precursor of multiple myeloma. And I'm not a doctor, but man, it seems like every time I turn around, it's some kind of thing I ain't never heard of that we got, right? The difference is more pronounced in younger people. And notice it said Africa because they went to Africa with a campaign too. Trust us, we're the doctors. Take this injection, take this pill, and you'll be fine. They did the same thing to us in Africa after poisoning our waters, having us fear to drink the water now. Right? Let's see. There are large differences among racial ethnic groups in colorectal cancer screening rates. With and then check this out. This is how you know it's a bunch of mess. With Spanish-speaking Hispanics less likely to be screened than whites or English-speaking Hispanics. I've never seen a problem with any sister of any Israelite persuasion saying, I ain't going to the doctor to get scanned. I've never seen it. But this is the part where they try to hit you with the okie doke. Now they bring the facts. They're going to try to say, well, look, you better go to those doctors. That's how they do it. Rates of colorectal cancer deaths among those younger than 65 premature deaths are higher in states with the lowest education levels than in those with higher levels. People with more education are less likely to die prematurely of colorectal cancer than those with less education, regardless of race or ethnicity. That doesn't make any sense because we all know wherever there's less education, there's the children of Israel. There's the public schools with all the garbage going on. But that's still not hitting at the mark. We ain't keeping the commandments. Let's see here. Behaviors that increase cancer risk, such as smoking and drinking alcohol. Oh, you mean those same stores that are in every Israelite's neighborhood in abundance where they're not in the other nations' areas? Whether I go to Judah's neighborhoods or I go to Issachar's neighborhoods, wherever I'm at, it's going to be liquor stores. And it's going to be strong stuff up in there. Cheap stuff up in there, too. Whatever bird. Depends on what tribe you with. It's going to be something, though. It says, let me read it again. Behaviors that increase cancer risk, such as smoking and drinking alcohol, may be more prevalent. Now, check this out. Here's another okey-doke statement. Check this out. Amongst lesbian, gay, and bisexual sexual youths than among heterosexual youths. What is that? And that's the last statement they left you with on that thing, too. Like, what? Right, so this is what they're trying to say. Well, yeah, they're really depressed. They're going through something. Feel sorry for them. So every statement before that, we can ignore now because they threw that in there with it. A personal preference versus a people under a curse. Interesting. Deuteronomy 7, 9 through 15. I was born an Israelite. I didn't choose it. Even though I'm thankful the Most High did that anyway. I didn't choose it, though. That's the thing. But they tried to mix that in because, they try to get power with their cause off the back of our issues. Civil rights. Right? Let's see. Read that, please. Deuteronomy 7.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 9. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations, and repayeth them that hate him to their face, to destroy them. He will not be slack to him that hateth him. He will repay him to his face. Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments of which I command thee this day to do them. Wherefore it shall come to pass, if ye hearken to these judgments and keep and do them, that the Lord thy power shall keep unto thee the covenant and the mercy which he sware unto thy fathers. And he will love thee and bless thee and multiply thee. He will also bless the fruits of thy womb and the fruits of thy land, thy corn and thy wine and thine oil, and increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep, in the land which he sware unto the fathers to give thee. Thou shalt be blessed above all people. There shall there shall not be male or female barren among you or among your cattle. Verse 15. And the Most High will take away from thee all sickness, and will put none of the evil diseases of Egypt, which thou knowest upon thee, but will lay them upon all them that hate thee.
All right. And that's what's going on if you haven't noticed in your news. Before it was just affecting us so nobody cared. But now the things are starting to pass to the other nations and it's becoming an issue. So here's the thing. We just have to stay the course. This is the way. Either you're going to do it or you'll just continue to be the people of curse. Even when the nations are going through the curse, we go through it worse. I'll just put that rent on my credit card this month, to catch up. What credit card? We don't even have one. Matter of fact, the credit cards they try to sell us, it'd be like interest of like 30%, 40%, with a warning on it like your children will have to pay for this one. That's how serious it gets for us. So that's the thing. You got a choice here. The Most High said, look, I'm giving you life or death here. Choose thou life so you can live. All right, Deuteronomy 32 and 17 through 22. And we got another article. This is really going to hit you. But again, like I said, when it comes to the truth, you're either going to do it or you're not. You're going to wake up or stay asleep. Okay? You can't be in the middle. No lukewarm stuff. No 1 minute saying I believe, next minute, well, it's been a week. That didn't work. I'm going to need to do this now. Nah, it's about enduring to the end. It's about enduring to the end. If you want eternity, surely you got a few minutes for this little temporary life you got right now to do the right thing. Because in comparison, just think of a timeline here. In comparison, what is that little bit of life? You may live, a lot of us, if we ain't doing right, we probably live to about 75 at best, 80 at best. Compare that to thousands upon thousands of years without end. And now determine, is it worth that thing you're still rebelling in? Is it really worth it? All right. Read that, please.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 17. They sacrifice unto devils, not to the Most High, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten the Most High that formed thee. And when the Most High saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not of the Most High. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Verse 22. For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains.
All right, and they're talking about all the time these wars that are going to come. And here it is, look, it said, and he said, I will hide my face for them. That's why you feel like you ain't being heard. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a froward generation, always stiff-necked with our people, children in whom is no faith. The thing about faith is, it's not conditional. Well, if this is going right for me, I'll believe. But if it's not, I got to put my faith somewhere else. That's how we think. As long as it's going well, we have faith. But when things start happening negative, we don't know what to do when it comes to faith. And we start to say, well, the Most High is not hearing my prayers. And he says, man, you're more, check it out, we've learned, we can't say we don't know how to be diligent because we were diligent in evil. You wouldn't go a week without sinning before. A day. A few hours. In some cases. You were just waiting for your next fix, so you know diligence. It's just about, are you going to do it for the Most High now? And he'll have your answers for you if you do. That's the funny part about it. He will have your answers. All right? Now, here comes an interesting article. Remember I mentioned how we tend to get the worst of something? Here's ultra-processed foods linked to cancer. BBC.com. I did this on purpose, getting mainstream articles. So you can't say, well, that just may be some conspiracy theory guys saying that. Even the mainstream puts it in your face. Now, they may try to flower it out a little bit at the end, make you think there's a school of opinion that may be different here, because they want to put the truth before you, but they also want you to now go back to sleep after reading it. Right? So, but we're going to go into some interesting parts out of this article. It says a link between highly processed foods and cancer has been suggested by French researchers. And it seems like it's always something the French doing, because the French, they were the ones that brought out that rat experiment with the GMOs where the big old bumps were growing off the rat's neck and all that. They were feeding these mice or rats, one of the other. There's big old things coming from these GMOs that they started feeding to our people. All right? It says they classified foods including cakes, chicken nuggets, and mass-produced bread as ultra-processed, right? A study of 105,000 people hinted the more of such foods people ate, the greater their risk of cancer. A lot of caution is being expressed about the study, but experts said a healthy diet is best. They literally just telling you, okay? Start doing the right thing here. It says, what counts as ultra-processed? Now, here's a list here. Mass-produced packaged breads and buns. Sweet or savory packaged snacks, including crisps. We got one of them little things in the med kit to make sure nobody pass out in here, like, bring them back or something, because I'm pretty sure by the time I get to the end of this list, somebody's going to be hurting. But I'm going to read it anyway. Yeah, defibrillator. We got one in? Follow along. Don't slip out to the bathroom right now. I'm just messing with you. All right. It says, sweet or savory packaged snacks, including crisp. That's European talk. I guess that means chips. Right? Chocolate bars and sweets. Sodas and sweetened drinks. Meatballs, poultry, and fish nuggets. Instant noodles and soups. Frozen or shelf life ready meals. Foods made mostly or entirely from sugar, oils, and fats. Right? Now, of course, we're going to go through this a little bit more, but is that not pretty much our diets that I just read there? Being on the go, got to grab something quick. They did that on purpose. You think they couldn't have places where you could get fast food that was actually made with organic things and different things? Of course they could. But that wouldn't serve their purpose. They're targeting their attacks at a specific people, and if they get Gentiles in the way, they don't care either. They don't care. All right? It says diet is already known to affect the risk of cancer. Being overweight is the biggest preventable cause of the disease after smoking. And the World Health Organization says processed meat does slightly increase the risk of cancer. But what about ultra-processed foods? The team at University Sorbonne Paris site used food surveys on 2 days to work out what people were eating. Those in the study were mostly middle-aged women who were followed for an average of 5 years. The results in the British Medical Journal showed that if the proportion of ultra-processed food in the diet increased by 10%, then the number of cancers detected increased by 12%. So every 10%, you had 12% more cancer going on there. Every 10%. You know the diets we're dealing with ain't just a 10% increase. Okay? It's not, we eating plenty of processed food. Matter of fact, that may be our whole day. So they're telling you flat out that, look, you've been had. I know it tastes good, but it's not good for you. All right? Keep this in mind. During the study, on average, 18% of people's diet was ultra-processed. Now, this is during the study. He should have went to the ghetto to see what that is. On average, there were 79 cancers per 10,000 people each year. Upping the proportion of processed food by 10% will lead to 9 extra cancers per 1,000 people per year. And again, like I said, in our neighborhoods, it's way more than 10% of our diets that's processed. So they're giving you funny numbers here, but just use common sense here. Like, wait a minute, we ain't eating just 10% here. We might smash down a whole packet of Pop-Tarts knowing that there's only one ingredient in there that may be natural. Let's just tell the truth. Okay? I know we have our fun, but I'm just saying it. Like, look at the ingredients on there. It's processed. Okay? Let's see. The researchers concluded these results suggest that the rapidly increasing consumption of ultra-processed foods may drive an increasing burden of cancer in the next decades. Wait a minute, I thought they said that health is going down as far as these concerned in the other article. Somebody's not telling us the truth, right? So the whole thing is there's an overwhelming amount of junk food that we eat. And until we start to address those problems, we're going to keep having our problems. Okay? That's one thing. So that's another thing to pay attention to. I'm saying don't run to the doctors all the time for every little thing that they need. Try to do it health-wise, please. Change your diet a little bit. Drink a little bit of water, good water, not sink water, okay? Look it up, look into it, figure out what's good for your body, because some people react differently to certain levels of types of water. But start doing those things. Start educating yourselves. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because you rejected knowledge, I don't want to hear that. Matter of fact, we in our neighborhood, we make fun of the person that's eating healthy. Oh, yeah, you eating them sticks again. Yeah. Here it is, that person living long, looking young, and you can't stay out the hospital. But still, them sticks you eating. You see? Because we've rejected knowledge, the Most High rejects us. Yep, that's a foolish nation right there. Foolishness. Sirach 30, 22 through 25. I'm about almost home here. Again, there had to be a robust lesson today. Because eventually you're going to get to a point where it's not going to be on us no more. Matter of fact, it probably already is at that point. And it's going to be on each and every individual what you did in these times when you were schooled on what's really going on here. Most High holds us accountable once he starts giving the information. Keep that in mind. Read that, please.
This is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 30, verse 22. The gladness of the heart is the life of man, and the joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. Love thine own soul, and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow from thee. From sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein. Envy and wrath shorten the life, and the carefulness bringeth age before the time. Verse 25. A cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet.
Right. So that's another secret. When you're under depression, you haven't noticed you want the worst kind of foods? You're in spiritual imbalance right now, at that point. You're having a spiritual imbalance. So the demons say, yeah, grab it, whatever. You need to feel good right now. I was telling him a joke. Remember, I've done the fitness thing. I was a personal trainer. I remember back in the day, one of the funniest things that somebody mentioned to me not too long ago, a brother, a couple of years ago, when I was advising him on how to do, certain things with his life. He said, and I thought this was the funniest thing. And it was like, that's the demon. He was like, I would work out, I'd go back to working out, get myself, start working out good, and it'd be that first day. And as soon as I get that first workout in and I'm feeling tired, I would say, you know what, I deserve something today. Let me go ahead and get this cake or whatever. Yeah, I deserve it. Now I found that funny because those are the demons telling you, you deserve it. And what ends up happening? You may go a good week, maybe even a month, but you're done. Because you already broke. You already now put back into your body what that connection with the Most High, saying, look, clean yourself up here. You already ruined it. You don't deserve it. You deserve righteousness. You deserve spiritual common sense. So this is the thing. You have to free yourself from these mindsets if you want to get over these things. All right? Sirach 30 and 14 through 17. And it tells you, look, a lot of it, I'm going to say this too. A lot of people have gone through certain issues, struggling with life things they haven't really gotten over yet. So they turn to these things for medication too. But eventually you got to stop letting what happened to you in these life situations be you. You have to fight beyond them. Stop using them as an excuse. All right? Because you're only going to see death as a result if you don't put these things down. All right? Read that, please.
Verse 14. Better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body. Health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth. There is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart. Verse 17. Death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness.
Right, and that brings depression too, because you're dealing with the fact that you can't overcome something of a sickness. But that's why you have to do what it's saying to do and worry about fixing yourself up spiritually and physically to get over those things. Or else it'll just be perpetual. A lot of us have been through the cycle so many times, we don't even know up from down. Again, even something simple as going to the gym, not saying, that has to be the thing. It doesn't have to be a thing. Just clean your diet up. That'll help too. Go for a walk or something. Okay? But we go through that same cycle that I said. I deserve this today. Over and over again. We'll go up and have a New Year's resolution this year again. And then I deserve this today. Oh, I'll try again next year. We're doing it to ourselves. Acts 8, 9 through 11. And we got one more scripture after that. Acts 8, 9 through 11. And I'm going to say this. Also, part of keeping the commandments is also listening to those priests. I want to emphasize that. Those priests are there to tell you the way. Again, I have nothing to gain by giving you this information. Not one thing. But the doctors have everything to gain from keeping it away from you. So please just take note and please just keep these things in your mind. Okay? Make a difference in not just your life, but the children that come after you. Start teaching them the right things so they can teach their children. That's the point of this. When I'm asked what's the point of holy days and things like that, that's the point. So that we give them a different legacy than what we had. All right? Read that, please.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 8, verse 9. But there was a certain man called Simon, which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people of Samaria, giving out that himself was some great one, to whom they all gave heed from the least to the greatest, saying, This man is the great power of the Most High. And to him they had regard because that of long time he had bewitched them with sorceries.
All right, so they were treating this man as a god because he was doing certain little magic tricks and sorceries and, different things that people were like, wow. That's the whole deal. With the doctors is the same way. Wow, thanks, doctor. We didn't realize the whole time, again, it's a game. They got to pay off college loans and all that. Remember that. And them things, hey, serious. You stay in school that long, it's a serious loan you got to pay off. Wake up. All right? And some of them are just programmed too. You got to remember that too. They've been trained to think a certain way. So I'm not saying everyone is just sitting there like the devil, just like, yeah, I'm going to kill this one today. But I am saying there's a lot of them still thinking about their wallets over your health. All right? 1 Corinthians 9, 24 through 27. And also for those who are new who don't know, the word pharmacy comes from the Greek word that means which is pharmakia, which means sorcery. They're giving you a lot of the same potions that the witches were cooking up back in the day. And we take it willingly and still say, why ain't the Most High hearing my prayers? You're taking sorcery on a regular basis. Put it down. This pill could cause, delirium or something crazy. You may see things. You don't think that may be sorcery involved there? I'm seeing demons and stuff. The walls is jumping and I'm doing all this stuff and I'm still wondering what's going on, but I'm taking that pill every day. All right? I done sprinkled it on my food and everything. I'm just going to eat it like this. It'll go down better. They're killing you and having you delusional along the way. Read that last verse there, child, scripture, excuse me.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 24. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. I therefore so run not as uncertainly, so fight I not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it unto subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
Right. So you must get control of yourself, of your flesh. So that all that warning you've been doing for years with your relatives and all that, you don't actually go to the same hell you're warning them about. That's what a key thing to remember too. While you warning people and saying, hell yeah, you gotta get up out that kitchen church, I won't get put, you got people going extreme when they knew too, scaring the heck out of the relatives and all that. You better have yourself in check so you don't go to the same place you're warning them about. Get yourselves together. Get your flesh together. And with that being said, of course, that's the lesson today. Just really take it in, brothers and sisters. Again, nothing to gain by telling you this. You have to now choose what you're going to do with the rest of this life. All right? Okay, so we're going to do Q&A. Again, Q&A is question and answer. Please, no extra comments. We have Tuesday and Thursday classes for comments. Elder Rick also does a radio show where he gives people the chance to do comments. But question and answer we'll deal with today. And we'll pass that mic around for him when we got it. We need one of these, yeah. Check to see if they got anything there. See if they have any questions there, and then we'll. Yeah, what's the question there? The mic's up here.
Testing.
He got one.
You turn it up. Turn me up now. Testing.
All right, what's the question there?
Testing. There we go. We have a Maytag J online. What did the sister do that had hypothyroidism? I stopped taking this bovine herb last year.
What does she do? Well, that's very detailed in a sense, but basically, staying away from the medications, that's the number one thing we had to do. She did fast, she did pray, so she did different types of fasting. She avoided certain types of leaves, I think like cabbage, because of certain things it may do, I guess blood-wise, slowing you down or something like that. But for the most part, she just blended a lot of stuff and just had a nice little thing with fruits and vegetables. She would stay away from regular like white breads and stuff. She switched over to different things like for example, you have one thing we were doing over there is we started promoting, and it wasn't on like a tough thing, but it was just we started doing more meals in which we try to incorporate stuff like brown sugars and different things like that to get away from the white. because a lot of these sugars, even though white is better than the artificial sugar, they keep the body from healing. So there were different things we would do with that, like coconut sugars and different things. So these types of things helped her to recover. Again, the body must go through a process, and this is for those, this is even in the world they tell you in fasting, and a lot of the understanding, after about 6 hours of not eating, folks, your body tries to start going into health, like repair mode, okay? So every time you're sleeping, your body's trying to repair itself. But what do they have you doing as soon as you wake up? Break fast. You're breaking the fast. So now your body has to stop that mode, now figure out what it's going to do about digestion and everything else going on with these processes now that you're out and about. So that process that the Most High put in place was for us. Let's go to Isaiah 58 real quick. It was for us, not for him. He doesn't need the fast. It's us. And even science is proving now that it's valid. The people of the old world understood that. Even animals understand that. When animals are going through sickness and stuff, they can start to back away from dealing with meats and things. Even a dog will just start eating grass or something. Right? Read, let's go down to the part about bonds of wickedness. Let me see down. Yeah, read right there.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke?
All right, so everything that's a part of you, your struggle and everything, can be done through the Most High, fasting and prayer, and just staying away from sin. We just have to understand it. And again, there's processes with natural herbalists and stuff that will recommend certain things. You know, as long as it ain't no drugs, we ain't dealing with no marijuana, no foolishness like that. They'll recommend certain things, but those things are only as good as your regular diet. Let's say he said, okay, look, here's some oregano and something else for that. And then as soon as you say, thanks, doc, and you take the oregano pill, and now you just shove it down, you have a whole pizza. Yeah, I hope that oregano worked. No. You just ate a ton of white flour, which is processed and will cake your actual intestines long term if you make that a thing of regularity. So it may have been a nice little spice for your pizza, but it ain't doing much in the ways of healing you. All right? We have any other questions there? Okay. Yeah, well, if they don't have any more questions, well, let them be in it. They're good.
Okay.
Yes, sister.
It's working. I was just wondering, is there any clarity you can give as to Alzheimer's disease and scriptures? Any scriptures that could back that up?
Alzheimer's?
Yes.
Not necessarily, but again, these are all things that can be helped with fasting. A couple things I know they say, I think walnuts is good for dementia and stuff like that, and it's actually shaped like a brain. A lot of people say that's not a coincidence. A lot of your herbalists. So there's different things you can do. You just got to do the research. You know, it's not necessarily a scripture on that.
I was just wondering. I
Yeah.
was wondering if it's like a curse, because I'm seeing a prevalence with
Yeah.
people who don't really eat processed food. So I was kind of wondering what.
Right.
Is,
Yeah, but a lot of people, they may not eat processed, but then they mess around with vaccines and different things. So they're going to hit you one way or another. Eventually, you just got to be clean altogether. Just leave it alone if you're going through those things for a time so your body can actually recover. You see? So that's a whole nother story. Yeah.
What was the name of the message? You said
The lesson is faith kills, stepping away from the medical religion now. Now, of course, I ain't talking about faith in the Most High. I'm talking about the medical religion. Put that out there. Okay?
And then what was the name of the first article?
The first article. Go back to the top here. First article. What was the name? The first article was called, it says The Truth About Cancer.com, and it says The Truth About Chemo. That's the name of the article. This one, the first article? No, the first article is from thetruthaboutcancer.com, and it has references for where it's getting the information on the site from different medical studies, actually. Okay? That's the thing. This stuff is backed up by research. This is not something just coming out the air. People have studied this thing. And guess what? We should just have common sense at this point, looking at our neighborhoods to know what's really going on here. We just got to listen to what we naturally can see. It's not that hard. When I used to see people promoting, marijuana and all this stuff, I said, well, look at our neighborhoods. Where did it help us to be any less in a good situation, any more in a good situation? All these deep brothers still in the same neighborhood, bugged out and struggling, talking about it's going to expand your mind. Yeah, to demons. So I didn't need that when I came in the truth where people was trying to push certain things. Look, I'm good. I seen the neighborhoods. I know. It never been good to us. So, yes, sir. We have any questions? Any other questions? Oh, yes, sir.
Leviticus 3:17.
What's that? Let's see here. Go ahead.
So I know you mentioned earlier about the fats and all that stuff being not good for the diet. So looking at that scripture, can you expound on that?
I mean, bottom line is you shouldn't be eating none of this garbage that we've been trying to eat for years, frying up fats and everything to eat it. That was usually something for a smell for the Most High. We weren't supposed to be just on purpose, just sitting there trying to digest a bunch of fat. Sometimes that's the best part for us. We'll just sit there and just chew on that for hours, not realizing that we weren't supposed to do that. Most of the fat, you're supposed to cook off or cut off and deal with the meat of it. Okay? Now it says, nor blood. A lot of us are trying to eat like the Gentiles, knowing our mamas didn't teach us that. Daddy didn't teach, Uncle didn't teach you that either. Uncle was telling you, it better not be no pink in my meat when you're cooking it on that grill. We done forgot the ways of our forefathers. That used to be the first thing, right? They would open up the burger like, hold up, there's still pink on this thing. That was the first thing we knew. Cook the thing through. All the tribes knew that. Okay? So these things, because we're breaking the Most High's commandments and doing it our own way now, wanting to be like what we saw on TV, where you see that it's a piece of steak and it's still red in the middle, but they got the steam coming off of it, they got the music playing. So you saying, yeah, I want that one. We losing our minds. This was not how we were taught. All right? Okay. Next question there.
Shabbat Shalom, Elder.
Yes, sir. Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
I just wanted to say about the truth about cancer. But I just wanted to say there's a documentary on it. I think it's like 8 or 9 documentaries where it tells you how to eat right and testimony. If anybody, I just want to say, interested in that, I have the whole series where it teaches you more how to, eat right and testimony to how to beat cancer with the truth about cancer.
Do you have any questions?
No, that was it. I just wanted
Okay. Just a reminder, Q&A, folks. Q&A. We would just put it out. If you got something, we can put it out later. All right. All right, questions? All right, we're good. Mark, where's Brother Mark at? All right, I think you can cut us right here.